Hey everyone, Quissy here. I noticed that today, just about 1 month has passed since I was given access to the closed beta of Classic WoW. What an incredible journey it's been so far. Every day I learn something new. Every day I meet new people who turn into new friends. I just dinged level 40 a few days ago, and in this video, I want to cover the biggest highlights for me so far in the Classic WoW closed beta, and just kind of talk about what I've been doing. I know I haven't uploaded a video in a couple weeks. I've just been completely immersing myself in the closed beta. I'm trying to get as much out of it as I can because I don't know how long it's going to last for. And as you can expect, if and when the closed beta does go down, that's going to be prime time for me to upload a lot more video content, thoughts, reactions, and things I learned from the beta. I've been live streaming with Pastaface almost every night, so there's been plenty of live content over on my Twitch channel at twitch.tv/QuissyTV. If you haven't already, please feel free to follow so that you can see when we go live. This weekend we'll be diving into Zul'furrak Valley and helping test the features of it. I'm really looking forward to that. In addition, I've been spending almost all of my mornings working on guides for classic.wowhead.com. I've recently completed dungeon guides for the Temple of Vital Hakar, which is the Sunken Temple, Maradon, Uldaman, and Skolomance. And I also refined my guide for Scarlet Monastery too. I've linked the links to my guides in the description below. As the beta comes out, we're learning so much about Classic WoW each day, so as time goes on, I will continue to update, edit, and refine these guides. As always, I'm open to feedback. If you happen to notice something that doesn't look right, or there's some misinformation, please feel free to drop me a line. That being said, I've been incredibly busy. I love creating videos for this channel, but between writing the guides for Wowhead and live streaming on the closed beta, it's definitely been a balancing act. But I have been gathering lots of footage and plan to keep consistently releasing classic-related videos on this channel. So as I just stated, I recently acquired level 40. I took my time leveling. I didn't try to rush there as quickly as possible. I'd rather enjoy as much of the content I can now before the actual game launch, because that's the time when I probably will be rushing. Also, I think some people forget that this is a beta test, so I always try to keep in mind to do things a little bit outside of what everybody else is doing, for the most part, in the hopes of helping test out the content. That being said, it seemed like just about everybody farmed Scarlet Monastery to get from level 30 to 40. I definitely farmed it a bit myself for experience and gear. I mean, it's really great, how could you not? But I tried to find some areas in the open world to quest too, minus Stranglethorn Vale of course, which I heard was an absolute war zone. Instead, we quested in Desolus, South Shore, Dustwallow Marsh, Arathi Highlands, and more. We wanted to take some paths a bit less traveled. I think it was a lot better to expand our ground covered and explore areas we hadn't been to in years. It was a great experience revisiting these zones, especially seeing them in their original state, as they've greatly changed over the years. I did ding level 40 inside Razorfen Downs. Acquiring my Paladin Charger felt so rewarding. Getting that extra speed feels so monumental and powerful. It was certainly worth the journey to level 40. Fortunately for me, all I had to do was speak to my Paladin trainer to acquire my mount. As a result, I gave the rest of my gold to Pastaface so that she could get her mount at level 40. All in all, getting to 40 felt like a great achievement. And yeah, I'm sure we'll continue to do dungeons and quests to acquire better gear, but for the most part, we really did enjoy the journey of the leveling process in Classic WoW. Similar to when we hit level 30, we wanted to keep questing for experience. As a result, we had created a bunch of alts to test leveling routes. We practiced level 1 to 10 runs, we played classes we'd never experimented much with before, we explored unfamiliar starting zones. Overall, the entire leveling experience for me is a huge part of why I love Classic WoW. So moving on to another big highlight of the beta for me, last night a group of 5 of us ventured into the hinterlands in hopes of acquiring the mallet to summon gahz'rilla in zul'furrak, so we could complete the quest and get our carrot on a stick trinket, which increases mount speed by 3%. This entire journey ended up taking close to 5 hours and felt incredibly epic from start to finish. To acquire the mallet, we had to travel to the Altar of Zul to kill a mob named Chiaga the Keeper. We had to battle through mobs that were at least 6 to 7 levels higher than us to get to her. Fortunately, we had a hunter in our group who pulled and kited so that we could target only her and not her elite companions. Turns out she died relatively quickly once we got her alone. Then, we had to death run to the top of Jintha Allure, an area filled with the elite trolls. At the top of Jintha Allure, there's an altar that we can take the mallet to in order to transform it into the mallet of Zul'furrak. So we took off all our armor and death ran to the top. It didn't take too long for us to get there, and once we made it to the top, we found the altar and prepared to spawn right on top of it, while the hunter in our group used his pet to distract and kite the elite mobs away while we created our hammers. Turns out hunters are pretty useful to have in groups. Next, we set off to Zul'furrak. ZF is considered to be a level 44 to 54 dungeon, so I wasn't entirely sure how we'd do. Our group composition was kind of funny too. 3 warriors, a hunter, and a holy paladin healer. Shout out to Eric for summoning us to Tenaris, by the way. The first few pulls inside Zul'furrak were a little scary, but once we worked things out, we warmed up, and we really got into a groove headed towards gahz'rilla. I think we only wiped twice, and fortunately, no mobs had respawned at that time. We slowly and methodically pulled mobs, pats, scarabs, everything, and made our way to gahz'rilla's room. We pulled him underneath an archway, across the map, so that we could minimize his knockback effects. This was a long fight. I had to use at least 2 mana pots and all of my cooldowns. But we did it. What an awesome feeling of accomplishment. This wasn't an easy task, but our group persevered, worked together, and got it done. We happily turned in the quest in the Shimmering Flats to get our carrots. Shout out to Pasta, Pastaface, Skrunk, and Tema for the awesome job. The next memorable thing for me was finally getting the Whirlwind Axe for Pastaface. This was a task that, at level 30, required quite a number of people to do. We never had the opportunity or tried to go through the effort to gather that many people, so we waited until we were in our high 30s to complete this quest. Pastaface had already gathered some of the charms needed, so it didn't take us too long to farm the rest in the Arathi Highlands. Once all of her materials were gathered, we headed back to the Hillsbrad foothills to summon Cyclonian. There were 4 of us, and the kill itself was pretty quick. Thanks to Noxa and Something for helping us defeat Cyclonian, and Pastaface finally got her Whirlwind Axe at level 37. The next memorable experience for me has just been leveling professions. I chose to level blacksmithing and mining on the closed beta. I recently picked up fishing and cooking, and also had been leveling first aid too. What's really stood out to me, and I was already aware of this, but just how important professions are. Engineering seems to be the most popular, as you can craft some seriously great items, and its use in PvP is exceptionally invaluable. But even for blacksmithing, I've been able to create gear and crafting materials used in other professions, like engineering. And word travels fast. I get PM'd from random people who know I'm a blacksmith asking for help with things, and I think that's really cool. Everyone's been super appreciative of help. Most people will tip you some gold or silver for helping them with your professions. And leveling fishing and cooking together, I highly recommend. I was able to level them up together very efficiently. Really, what I wanted to be able to do was craft Sagefish Delight, which is a well-fed buff that gives me 6 mana per 5 seconds, for 15 minutes. Stacking that with my improved Blessing of Wisdom has been great. Pasta's leveled Herbalism and Alchemy, so having these potions while dungeoning and questing has been extremely helpful too. Overall, the value of professions is not to be undermined, and that's been quite memorable for me. And lastly, I mentioned getting the Whirlwind Axe for Pasta, but at level 20, I had started my quest to get Varigan's Fist, a paladin-specific questline and weapon. For me, I never had the prior experience of completing this quest, so it was all new for me, and equally as rewarding. At level 20, it requires quite a bit of traveling around. You go to Westfall, Deadmines, Loch Modan, Shadowfang Keep, and Blackfathom Deeps to collect the necessary items needed to forge the hammer. With the help of guildmates, we set off on this epic journey, and were able to complete it in just a few hours. I ended up using Varigan's Fist well into my 30s, as it has some pretty nice stats on it. But being able to participate in and set forth on these journeys make Classic WoW really special to me. You just get this feeling like everything you do has a purpose. Everything has meaning. Everything you do, even if you're helping somebody else out, is rewarding. And wielding Varigan's Fist, to me, was very meaningful. So those are just a few things that I wanted to highlight in my experience playing the WoW Classic Closed Beta thus far. Many, many other memories have been made, and perhaps those will be saved for future videos, but I think here's a good time to wrap up the video. As I mentioned earlier, I've been live streaming just about every night, so don't forget to follow me on Twitch at QuizzyTV. Also, I've linked my Wowhead guides in the description below, so feel free to check those out too. And if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button on YouTube. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. You can also follow me on Twitter, that's also linked below. Thanks again for watching, and I look forward to sharing more Classic WoW adventures with you all.